Your Powerful Legacy with Kristina 𝘂𝗃𝗃𝗃 and Rob 𝘂𝗃𝗃 of Powerful Legacy Insurance and Financial Services. I am your host, 𝘂𝗃𝗃𝗃, filling in for Cynthia 𝘂𝗃𝗃𝗃. Kristina, once again this week, we would like to talk about women and retirement planning. It's incredibly important. Why is this such a passion project for you this month?
Well, first off, I love focusing on the ladies. I mean, obviously being a lady myself, and if I was to just take a glimpse inside of my entire clientele, over 70% are ladies. Ladies making the decision, ladies of the household, a lot of times divorced, single, never married ladies. So
wait, because we talked about this as well over a cup of coffee. We were talking on our pre-show notes, and that was a baffling statistic for me, and absolutely true for you as well, Rob. 70% of the people who are on your appointment book are women on their own.
They are.
So, and is this coming from life events such as divorce, or the spouse has passed away, or are we finally getting more women who are interested in financial planning and planning for their retirement?
All of the above. I think that a retirement strategy has just become something that is more important to ladies. Just more recently, I think that people are more hypervigilant toward the economy, more hypervigilant toward your actual needs and your longevity, which is one of those major risks we'll talk about in today's show. And I think that as we start to have those discussions, ladies, you're stepping up to the plate, coming in, making sure that we're getting everything in order for you.
Well, you both have said that you need to have your own strategy. And when we're saying own, O-W-N, what exactly does the own strategy stand for? How do we put this together?
Just own it, right? So it's theirs. It's their strategy. In fact, we have one lady that came in, and we try to get couples together at least so they know what's going on. And when we asked her about it, she said, "No, I don't really want him here." And they're happily married. He's not interested. She doesn't want him there, and that's okay.
Yeah.
We offer.
And I'm sure you've seen that on both sides of the coin, right? But it really helps when we're both on the same page when it comes to goal setting, when it comes to, I don't want to call our income plan like a budget. Nobody likes a budget. To me, a budget's like a diet. You know, it's restrictive. But you talk about like an income spending plan. What can we spend? And if we're on the same page together. Now, what I also want to ask about this own strategy, it sounds to me not cookie cutter. This isn't just something you print out or you come in and say, this is the way we do things here at your firm. It's individualized. How so?
Well, first off, I mean, even though my fabulous husband is sitting here next to me, I'm still my own person. I mean, I hate to point out the obvious in marriage, but you're still an individual inside of your marriage. And so I do know that statistically, one of these days, I will be here longer than him. And so I would want to make sure that everything is in order for myself. But when we're talking about women actually owning their retirement strategy, this is what it really boils down to. You have different types of professionals for different times of your life. If you notice when you are accumulating your funds and we're starting to have conversations about retirement, you need to have a shift of mindset. You're going from that spending your paycheck, you know, taking care of the regulatory bills, and I'm just shoving part of it in my 401k, to now I need to turn on my retirement savings and make it last the rest of my life. That's decumulation and wealth preservation. That's what we do. So sometimes it's necessary to talk to someone who's going to be what's best for you, not necessarily just what's out there.
Right, right. And can you talk to me a little bit about the tools that you have? So even if we come in as a couple, how do you show the income spending plan for once someone has passed away? I imagine you've got electronic tools that help us out with this, but do you show it visually? Do you take us through the numbers? It can become complicated. We also have taxes, inflation. How do you take all those numbers together and put together this plan or strategy?
Folks, today's show is going to be almost 5 hours long. We're just going to get to the basic bare bones of all of this. No, it can feel like it is absolutely so much. We do have this amazing graphic. It's called the 3 financial phases. Let me have just a moment to get that up there. So first off, when we're starting our lives, contributing to your retirement or accumulation, this is put out several different ways. This is also in the 5th chapter of the retirement train. I created this. I want you to see what is that like when it's starting to get to that financial red zone. So you're in your 50s, 60s, starting to move into your 70s. You need to be in conservation mode, conservative towards your investments, eventually distribution or decumulation. So as we're looking into those phases, I think that first step is, where are we in the financial phases? For some people, they all overlap together. Then we take, where are we and where are we going? Let's get you on track. We obviously have to have money to pay the bills for the things that we need. Then we're going to have another bucket for the things we want. We'll talk about all these other buckets with taxes, tax-free retirement strategies, obviously taxable money, the qualified money, like what comes out of your 401k. So yeah, there are a lot of different things to talk about, but I want to put it all in one bucket. You're going to come in, you're going to put everything in one big retirement bucket. My job is to keep you a spigot of interest coming in the top, to poke a hole in the bottom for distribution of income, then all those other holes, inflation, taxes, fees, health care, obviously, I'm going to help you plug those or make them as small as possible to hold on to your wealth and distribute the income you need.
And then by putting this plan together, are you helping to continue administer it? How does this work? Like, how does it actually, well, I've always wanted to know the brass tacks of how does it go from your desk to what their accounts are to where does that money come from? What does it come from their paycheck? We know that the Social Security comes monthly. How do the rest of the funds, how does that work in setting up that income stream?
So again, I want to jump back to the buckets. So we do want to have 3 different buckets. So first off, we want to have a liquid amount. We want to have a spending bucket that will be completely liquid. You can touch it, checking, savings, money market, maybe parked in some CDs. Maybe this is cash in your home. That's okay. And we want to see about 1 to 3 years inside that first one. The next will be flexible, maybe a little bit heavier emergency fund inside of that. Maybe you're not going to touch it for 7 to 10 years. And then the last but not least is going to be your growth bucket. Folks, this is going to be money that you're going to touch way down the road. We're going to probably do some Roth conversions inside of that because this will probably be qualified money, which means it's qualified to pay some taxes. So we want to make sure that we've got that under control for way down the road. So money for now, liquid, money for a little bit later, and then way down the road, making sure that you don't run out of money, keeping all the taxes favorable. Oh wait, let's protect your wealth with an attorney, your will, your estate, all those other items, Medicare, Medicare supplement, Social Security, goodness gracious.
Now, oh my, all of those all together. Now, how long does that sort of process take? I ask you because I know down on the bottom of the screen, we put the phone number down there, there's a QR code. I'm going to have to go out to break here in a moment, but when people come in for the first time, how much of that can you provide? What is that first experience like?
So we will contact you. When you give us a call at that number, you're going to get a live person, set an appointment with us. We can't wait to see you, can't wait to meet you and hear about your journey. But we will let you know what documents you need to bring to make the most of our time together. For some folks, this is just going to be a second opinion. We're just going to take a look, maybe 30, 45 minutes, give you that second opinion. Are you on track, yes or no? If everything's in order, we send you on your merry way. If not, we're going to let you know what can we do to adjust that and get you where you need to be to have that retirement how and when you want.
We're going to take a very short break right now. This is Your Powerful Legacy with Kristina and 𝗷𝗾𝗂𝗧. If you would like to get started on your own right track retirement, all you've got to do is call the phone number you see right here, or you can use the QR code. Open your phone to the camera and point it at the black and white box. It'll take you over to our landing page and you can schedule your own appointment right there. We're going to continue to talk about the importance of women in retirement planning, making sure that you're in the conversation. It is much more difficult than it ever has been today to be and stay retired as long as we all are living. So call for your own on-track retirement review. Call the phone number, use the QR code. We'll be right back.
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. After nearly a lifetime on the job, you should be rewarded for all the time you spent working. Whether that's crossing off items on your bucket list, learning a new passion, or rekindling the love of an old one. After all, life isn't over when you stop working. It's the start of an all-new chapter. The one where you're the writer and you get to choose how your story will go. A way to achieve that is by having a clear financial plan to sustain your golden years. The biggest fear most retirees have is if they'll have enough money to maintain the lifestyle they've always enjoyed. Having a plan to help protect you against the curveballs life often throws will help to maintain your lifestyle. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to Your Powerful Legacy with Kristina and 𝗂𝗏𝗂𝗧𝗧. I'm your host, 𝘂𝗃𝗃𝗃, filling in for 𝘂𝗧ia 𝗂𝗏𝗂𝗃. She will be back. We're talking about women and retirement planning, more specifically solutions. We don't just like to talk about problems. We're not about the negative news. We like to solve the problems. Let's go back to one that you kind of bumped over the speed bump, I think, a little too quickly. You said Roth conversion. You threw it in there like we all know what you're talking about. Why are Roth conversions so important to be talking about? And maybe for me, since I haven't been here as 𝘂𝗧ia, so you could explain a little bit again, what exactly is the Roth conversion?
We love Roth. There are only two ways to save tax-free for retirement, the Roth and the 7702. So Roth can be converted too. For a lot of you folks out there, you've heard the rules. You know that you have certain income limitations and earnings that you have to be able to contribute to Roth. But did you know that Roth conversions have much more options available? If you want to open your browser and take a look at this, it's actually called a backdoor Roth conversion. I don't like the name of that. It sounds kind of shady, but I always think, I'm letting my doggy out the back door. He's my bestest friend, so I want to make sure that we make this a friendly situation. So this can be for someone who perhaps is very heavy on the tax qualified. So you've saved most of your funds inside of your 401k, 403b, 457, something like that, and that money is all pre-tax. What do we do now? How long does it take to break even for the amount that you convert over to Roth versus all the savings that you could have on that money if you don't pay the taxes today? What could you miss if the taxes even increased by 2%? We have all the answers for that, and we do have powerful partners, our CPA, that helps us take care of this equation for you.
And to bring it back, especially for Rob and I, why this issue is so important for women today, the reason we're talking about the Roth conversion, I always like to ask, is it worth it to do a Roth conversion into our 60s? And specifically for women who could be in retirement for 20, 25, 30, 35 years, is it worth it doing a Roth conversion even later in life?
So you got to ask a couple questions. You've got to ask, where are you in life? What time of year is it? We look at Roth conversions in December, and pretty much December only, because we don't know what tax bracket you're actually going to be in. You could roll that over or convert that money to a Roth, and it could bump you up into a different tax bracket, which would cost you money. Okay. We don't want that.
All right. And so with doing the conversion, so let's just talk real brass tacks. Let's talk the kinds of clients who call you. Let's say we've got $500,000 in a 401k. That's what you're saying is the tax qualified. We've never paid taxes on that. Mm-hmm. We're 60, 62 years old. Now, if we're going to convert that, we have to pay the taxes. Do we all or nothing, or do we spread this out over a couple of years? Because I want to talk about tax sunsetting in a moment. How do we do it?
So every situation is going to be completely different, and I know people don't want to hear that, but it could be that it's going to be a little bit more than less. So first off, you said early 60s spikes, or are these people still working? That's one thing that we need to look at. Do they still have earnings? When we're talking about the income and then what could happen with Roth, we want to make sure, again, just like Rob said, don't bump you into another tax bracket, so be really careful about that. Also, only looking in the month of December for this reason. I've got some clients, I retired them in the middle of the summer. Not even a month after they were retired, and they wanted to do Roth conversions right when he retired. Well, guess what? Not even a month later, we had to pull out over $100,000 to help take care of his wife with cancer. That's serious. That would have catapulted his taxes had we done the Roth conversions when he asked for it. Instead, we were waiting. So we actually didn't do any Roth conversions for 2022. Jump in 2023, 2024, it'll be a different story.
Right, right. And then we're all aware of we say the phrase taxes sunsetting, which is the polite way of saying, very likely in a couple of years, tax brackets will likely go back up to where they were. That's one reason why taxes for women in retirement are important to pay attention to, because they could be paying higher tax brackets. What's the other terrible thing, though, when our spouse passes away when it comes to filing taxes? You said our taxes go up again, especially likely for women. Actually, it's on both of our sides, but why do our taxes go up when our spouse passes away?
Ever so simple. What happens, Rob? You go from what? Go from married to?
You go from married filing joint and to single filing alone. And it's a lot to take in, especially if either a divorce or a death takes place, that you have to just consume that information. And it's in a time where you can't think straight anyway. So to have someone there for you, advocating for you, help guide you along the way. I've been through it, and I was the same way. My wife died at 40 years old, my first wife, and it was a sudden it was a sudden medical deal, never had health exposures in her life, and you just kind of walk around in a fog. And I've said that before, and you need help because you get people telling you information that's just not correct out there.
And I think if I can say that for the folks out there is that you're not alone. You have gone through it. You've gone through things yourself. And in that moment, I think people feel either most embarrassed or insecure, and they don't know who to reach out to. And even though they've got assets and accounts, you still have to go on and pay the bills and so forth, and they just don't know who they can reach out to.
Those are just numbers on a page. I mean, we can talk about the numbers on a page all day long. If you're sitting in front of me, we will be successful no matter what numbers are on that page. We'll make sure you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, what about the emotional aspect? Again, if someone does not think that money is emotional, they have never talked to a divorce attorney. They've never seen a family argue about assets after they've lost their parents. I mean, these type of things happen all the time. Sometimes I feel like I need a referee jersey and a whistle. I mean, it is really difficult. And to really reel people in, I think married couples probably the biggest, because when they get ready to retire, their perspective has changed. Maybe their spending and saving is not on the same page. So all of those items above, the number one thing that we've been talking about that I'm really concerned about, that people tell me, Spike, I'm worried about taxes. Folks, we do have something new. This is for you. This is the first time we're offering this on the TV show. And thank you to our loyal viewers. Oh my gosh, it just absolutely melts my heart that you spend all this time with us. Thank you. Your time is precious. We appreciate you. Right here, we've got this brand new thing called the Retirement Tax Bill Calculator. Let's take a glimpse into what your taxes will look like in retirement versus what we could do to put you in a more tax favorable situation. Pull out that phone, get that QR code there, click on it. It's so easy. You're just going to put in the age of the oldest spouse or yourself if you're single, how much qualified funds you have, 401ks, 403bs, 457s, what's the tax bracket, your name and your email, boom, it's going to send you a report from the Retirement Tax Bill Calculator, not a gazillion people messaging you trying to get you to buy something. This is just from me, just to you. I won't even know you've used the software if you don't leave a note and tell me that you need to talk to me. So please take it.
And this is incredible because mostly people will see what their tax consequences are going to be once they go to the CPA. And the whole point of doing this is that you can find out what your taxes will be in retirement and if you can do something about it right now. Getting yourself to a tax-free lane, a tax-free bucket. Sure, it takes a little bit of work, but please, as Kristina was saying, go to that right now. Make sure you can find out your own retirement tax calculator, or you could just call the phone number if you want to. Make sure that you come on in for a complimentary appointment. We'll get started on your on-track retirement. 877-893-5099. More with Kristina and Rob right after this.
Good morning, Ben.
Good morning, Ben. Hey, birthday party for Carol and 5. Happy birthday to you.
Good morning, Ben. Happy Monday.
Daryl's birthday, be there every square. Happy birthday to you.
You can see from our quarterly report on slide number 62, we're trending in the right direction. All signs point to a very positive outlook for the next several years. If you peel back the onion...
Ben, do you have anything to add?
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to Your Powerful Legacy with Kristina and Rob 𝘂𝗶𝗾𝘂. They just asked me if I'm ready for retirement. I'm like, no, not at all. I'm not ready for. They're gonna have to pry me out of this desk chair. I'm going to be here for a while. No, but that is an incredible responsibility that you both take on. To say to someone, it's okay. You're ready to retire. Now, before we get to that, though, how do you answer it with the tax bill? We were talking just about incremental tax increases and how it can be devastating to a plan. Why so?
Yes, well, I know that people are talking about inflation right now. So think about taxes as an inflation. If we have a tax rate, that 12% sweet spot where most of my retirees want to be, they want to make it look like they don't have any income, they're in that 12% bracket. Well, they're looking to change that up to 16 to 18%. Let's say it falls somewhere in the middle, which is historically what will happen. I mean, who thinks that taxes are going down? None of you. Nobody thinks that. So let's say that that 12% bracket goes up to just 14%. Well, 2% difference over 10 years, folks, that's 20%. Your money is worth 20% in 10 years less, 20% less in 10 years. That's a big deal. That really shows what inflation is, what it can do for you. And inflation is everywhere. I mean, it rears its ugly head, not just in the grocery store or maybe your property insurance or your tax bill. Maybe we're talking about your taxes. This could be a really big deal. So let's get that reeled in, talk about all of those items.
It's everywhere, right? The inflation is literally everywhere right now. And considering your taxes like that, even 2 or 3%, that matching with an increase in inflation over time, I mean, that's almost like 6-7% a year that your costs are going up. You need to have a strategy that matches. I know that you like to do this. Taxes are incredibly important. You're going to talk about your partnerships and so forth, but as we like to get to viewer questions, I've got an important one, and I was actually really surprised that you wanted to take this one. I know a lot of people who don't like to take this kind of question. So if you don't mind, both Rob and Kristina, I have nothing saved for retirement and recently went through a divorce. I thought we had over $1 million in my ex-husband's 401k, but he said he cashed it out for our expenses. I feel scared and lost. Didn't even end it with a question, but my question is, can they reach out to a financial? I mean, what can you do for someone who feels like they don't have anything?
Well, first off, I want to let you know, whoever has asked this question, thank you for sending this in to us, but I'm sorry that you're scared. That is a very scary situation because you think something is there, you think that safety net is there and your partner is there, and then all of a sudden, all of that is completely wiped out. While we have seen this before, I will tell you, it's never too late. You didn't tell us how old you are, but I will tell you, it is never too late. As long as you're able to work, we can start getting something together to save something. I've got a lady who something very similar happened to her, just like this, in her mid-50s. She wanted to retire at 60. That's not going to happen. We got past that reality. It is what it is. But we were able to place her inside of an accumulation strategy to really catapult her to a tax-free retirement. That was our main focus, was tax-free, because we knew in the future taxes are going up. What are we looking for? We know exactly how much money she's going to have 10, 15 years from now. We know exactly where she will be. And with her Social Security in conjunction, taking part of her former spouse's Social Security, which doesn't hurt him in any way whatsoever, so we can talk about that. But with all these things combined, we can make sure that you're going to have what you need in retirement. 1/3 of people, so 30% of people, have nothing saved for retirement at all. You're not alone. Pick up the phone, give us a call. Let's sit down and talk about what we could do to get you where you need to be.
That's one of my favorite things about your program and doing things like this and letting folks know that you aren't alone. There's a lot of folks who feel like they are far, far behind or that they don't have anything. I worked with a wonderful scholar who has said, consider now that we might have 3 or 4 or even 5 different careers in our lifetime because we're living longer. Ra, did you start out right out of college saying, I can't wait to help people with their personal finances?
No, but it's with the younger generation that's growing up, they switch jobs about every 5 years. And that's just one of the statistics that's been held. But for our generation, we take a little bit more pride and maybe a little bit more loyalty. I've had 3 major jobs in my life, and the last one spanning 17 years before I came into Powerful Legacy. So it's you've got to look, what 401ks do you have out there that you can combine and roll into one versus having to try to keep up with all of them. There's different avenues that you can take a look at.
Do you mind talking about the lifestyle planning with someone who might be in the midst of this right now? I mean, that's just the job landscape has completely changed. There's some organizations that are happy with working remotely. There's technology that can assist us. There's nothing wrong with taking a class or 2. I know I still do. The technology can pass you by very quickly. Do you talk about the lifestyle choices for someone who's stepping into retirement and feel like they don't have enough?
Yeah, we do talk about those lifestyle choices because chances are, if you have not saved enough, your lifestyle is going to change dramatically. We don't ever want you to be in a situation where you're choosing between a medication that you need in your life and keeping yourself warm in the winter. That's a really bad situation. So we're going to avoid that, get all that on the table, number one. But how and when do you want to retire? If you have in the back of your mind that you're going to retire a certain way, how can we get you as close to that as possible? Now, retirement looks different for everyone. If you were to stop and ask my oldest son, what was most important to him in his career and what does his retirement look like? Well, first off, he's not going to talk about the retirement. He'll say, what is retirement? You know, that's for old people. And then the secondary, he's going to say, I'd rather have time off to go and do the things I want. Well, it used to be people wanted more benefits, more pay. They wanted an opportunity for promotion. Now it's, well, I'm 25 years old. I deserve to be an executive and have everything that people have worked for 30 years. So
I want 4 weeks off a year and to work from home 3 days a week. I'm like, that's not how I grew up with it.
Exactly. Things have changed. So just like careers have changed, and obviously since COVID, everything has changed. I think probably the number one thing that sets us apart from everybody else is that since COVID, instead of customer service going backward, we have catapulted it forward. That's what we care about the most. We keep that connection with our clients on a regular basis. We don't bother anybody, but if there's something that we feel like we need to discuss with you, we're going to sit down and discuss it.
I really love that you said that, because that's the problem today. If you sign up for something, there's no customer service. There's an AI bot giving you a link, or did you see this article? So especially because, again, our program today was focusing on women, retirement planning. Somebody has a question, somebody wants to just sit down and say, am I on track or am I way off track? You'll sit down, answer those questions, no cost.
That's right.
So first off, it's an experience like you've never experienced before. You have the big box stores that will come in and do one thing. We are like counselors at some points in time, just talking to them about their personal problems, things like that. So when you come into our office, you'll get a copy of Kristina's book, The Retirement Train. She's got another one coming soon that's coming out. We won't give any names on the book yet, but it'll be out before too long, so I'm proud of her on that as well. But when you get in, we discuss everything. Like we talked about earlier, we'll talk about politics, religion, we'll talk about your needs, and we will come up with something for you at no charge. It doesn't cost anything to come in and sit down and talk to us.
And most specifically, tailored to each individual person and situation. Folks, thank you so much for watching Your Powerful Legacy. You're not alone. There's a lot of retirement concerns out there, but you don't have to do it by yourself. Give us a call the phone number you see right here, or use the QR code. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back next week.